Ever since the Israel-Gaza war started, there's been a fear the conflict could spread. And that's happening. Across the Middle East, we're seeing airstrikes, bombings, assassinations and border raids. The most high-profile escalation involves Houthi rebels in Yemen, attacking shipping in the Red Sea, they say in solidarity with Palestinians. In response, the US and the UK have attacked Houthi positions, most recently with US strikes on Wednesday night. And a day before America began attacking the Houthis, the US Secretary of State said this.
We were focused on making sure that the conflict ongoing now in Gaza doesn't spread to other places. That's been our focus since October 7th, and it remains our focus today.
But as America's own actions show, stopping the spread is proving difficult. As the New York Times puts it, the regional war no one wanted is here, and it asks, how wide will it get? Because already, along with the Israel-Gaza war and the exchanges in the Red Sea and Yemen, there have been other incidents in Iran, Syria, Iraq and Lebanon. And all of these different escalations connect both to the Israel-Gaza war and to longer-term tensions too.
What you have here really are two sets of conflicts overlapping. One, Israel v. Hamas and the ramifications of that. But of course, behind that, the much longer running and wider conflict between a low-level conflict, if you like, between Iran and its various allies in the region and Western interests more generally, and the United States in particular.
We're seeing this overlap play out across the region. Following October the 7th, there's been an increase in border clashes between the Israeli military and the Hezbollah group in Lebanon. Hezbollah is backed by Iran, as is Hamas. Then, in early January, there was an assassination in Lebanon of a senior Hamas leader. It's assumed Israel was responsible. The same is true of the assassination of a senior Iranian commander in Syria in December. Syria is an ally of Iran. Israel has tried to disrupt Iran's regional network, located in these places, what Iran calls its axis of resistance.
Iran uses its allies, non-state actors, allies, in order to show solidarity with Israel, with the Palestinians, in order to increase the costs of war in Gaza for Israel and the United States, and also to divert some of Israel's military assets from Gaza to the northern fronts with Lebanon.
Last November, Iran's foreign minister said Iran does not want the war to spread, but warned a wider conflict could prove inevitable. And recently, Iran has shown it is willing to take military action. 2 weeks ago, in an Iranian city called Kerman, the Islamic State group carried out the biggest bomb attack in Iran in decades, and Iran retaliated with strikes in Syria aimed at what it claimed were Islamic State positions. There were also missile strikes in Iraq, targeting what Iran claimed was an Israeli spy base. Iran also claims that Israel and the US were, in part, responsible for the Kerman attack. Iran's provided no evidence for either allegation. Iran is relevant to other escalations in Iraq too. In recent weeks, there's been an increase in attacks by Shia militias on US forces in Iraq. Those militias are backed by Iran. Then this week, another layer of complexity was added. On Tuesday, Iran launched a missile and drone attack in neighbouring Pakistan. It said the target was an Iranian militant group. In response, Pakistan launched retaliatory strikes at targets inside Iran. These developments don't directly connect to Gaza, but they do connect to Iran's broader efforts to establish its military strength in the region. They're more evidence of how fluid the security situation is, and faced with that situation, each country, each military group, has choices to make. For now, the Houthis keep attacking shipping in the Red Sea, and the US has redesignated the Houthis as global terrorists. It continues its military action too. The Americans argue this is the way to stop disruption in the Red Sea. But not everyone takes that position.
France decided not to join a coalition that sought to carry out, or had carried out, preemptive strikes against the Houthis on their soil. Why? Precisely because we have a stance that seeks to avoid any escalation.
But escalation is what's happening. And this week, Iran had this message.
If the genocide in Gaza stops, then it will lead to the end of other crises and attacks in the region.
Israel denies carrying out genocide, and an end to hostilities in Gaza will certainly not end the long-standing tensions in the region. But while we are some distance from a full-scale regional war, there's no doubt the Israel-Gaza war continues to pour fuel onto fires that were already burning.